Hello and welcome to Columbus Local Podcast. I'm Len D'Amico, and this is episode 43. Tonight we have Julie Neal and Ben Neal together.
Woohoo!
Hello.
Hello.
As always.
How are you guys?
We're doing good.
I'm doing fine after that little pregame that we had. Thank you so much.
I love it. A little Eagle Rare, some Scotch education
Absolutely.
by Beth. Love it.
Pre-game always helps.
Yes.
Well, and that was very special, very kind of you guys to do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Our
pleasure.
We had a lot of conversation about, something about Julie and Ben is that they are fans of bourbon.
Yes.
Big fans.
Yes.
We also had a lot of conversation about music, and I want to say, Julie, you've been involved in some recent projects. I want to let you kind of walk us through those because I don't want to mess anything up here.
Well,
recent, like what currently?
So currently I am the lead singer for Late Night Alibi, which is a cover band, and I've been with them almost 2 years, going into 2 years. And that's been a lot of fun. But I also have kind of continued my streak with backing up whatever Mark Chatfield is in. So whether it's Rosie or now The Gods. So The Gods, we've been together, I don't know. It's been ongoing, but over a year. And I'm their backup singer. And it's been a blast. I've had a blast with them.
They call you the secret weapon.
That is very flattering. I don't know how much of a weapon I am, but this band, The Gods, are incredibly easy to work with, and we just have a lot of fun. And their level, their standards of excellence, it's inspiring because they want to bring out the best and work so well cohesively, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. It really
awesome.
has.
So
Keith
awesome
Pickens,
too.
Doug Savage, or Sav Ramey is what he goes by, as well. And then now we've got Steve Mitchell, and then of course the very famous Mark Chatfield.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're having a good time.
I'm having a great time. So we actually have a gig coming up at the Blue Note in Harrison, Ohio on January 26th. And then we'll see what comes out of 2024. So I think the news is out that Mark Chatfield is going to be joining Grand Funk Railroad, but the Gods will still continue.
Yes.
So we'll be booking some various venues, and we've had great response, and these guys write music like that. I mean, it's really kind of amazing how quickly some of these songs have come together. And then Late Night Alibi will be playing around probably 20 or 24 gigs this year, and we want to have our balance in life as well, but we're having lots of fun adding on some new music and doing some prog rock and some classic rock and some, just adding on to the mix of music.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's rocking rock and roll, right?
Thanks for coming out, you and Beth. But that was so nice of you to come out on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that was really an eye opener. Personally, I mean, it was my first opportunity to really hear you live, and it was really, a special. It was a special night. I mean, you're musically, it was just a pleasure to see, such a great group of folks, having fun and doing what we do when we're out there.
Yes, we do. We have
but
a
for
lot
you
of
in
fun.
particular, though, it was your opportunity really to let loose and do what you love to do, and it was quite a statement.
That's why we do it. I mean, we want to be creative creatures, and bring the audience into the music and have them have an experience. And I think the best compliment I've ever received, probably ever, was at a gig with Late Night Alibi, and at the end of the night, person that was at the Dirty Oar came up and said, thank you for making us feel something. Like it was about the experience, whether it was nostalgic for that particular person, or it just, the music inspired them, or they felt something. But that's why we keep seeking the music that kind of gives people the experience and lifts them and makes you feel something. And it's not just the standard fare. So hopefully that's what you experienced. We try to do the songs that not everybody's doing. That's kind of the goal.
Yeah, the material is definitely a factor, but I got to give you some accolades too. I mean, your delivery is not ordinary.
Thank you.
I think what people feel is what you're feeling. It's a very emotional presentation of what you're doing. And I think that's what people are about. What you're feeling.
Thank you.
You're making those connections. It's natural for you.
I appreciate that. I bring some tenure. I bring some, life experience to it,
we'll
some
get into
heartache.
Some of that. Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate that. We're storytellers. That's, what we want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And to your left,
yes,
you can introduce this gentleman if you don't mind.
So this is my husband of almost 30 years, and we've been together since 1989, the end of 89. Ben Neal, and he is a drummer for Long Play and has many, many experiences in the music industry. So say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Ben, Long Play. How long have you been with Long Play?
Long Play has only been together since it was conceived in our first gig was in 21, August of 21. Then it was really kind of a conception of the band previously that I was with was a band called the Hobgoblins, which consisted of myself, Pat Dolomere on guitar, Mike Clark on bass, at the time Dave Gallagher on rhythm and lead guitar. They both shared lead guitar. Then we decided to add a full-time lead vocalist because Mike and Pat shared lead vocals on every song. They just constantly went back and forth. Okay. So we added a full-time lead vocalist, Devin Stacosa. Awesome vocalist in town. Long been in many, many projects around Columbus area. And Steve Paxton on keyboards. So it's really kind of a Hobgoblins 2.0, if you want to put it that way. But it's really, I say that with, a grain of salt because it's really a whole new band, different songs altogether, a lot of them. It's really to play up on Devin's strong vocals because he's just such a power vocalist of the classic rock stuff like Kansas and Styx and Boston and Queen.
Anything. He can do
anything. Pretty much throw anything at him. Yeah. He can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Foreigner, big Lou Graham fan. So, yeah, it's just, like we kind of talked about prior to us sitting down here and talking, the band is really there to highlight the vocalist, and that's what I feel like Long Play does. And then same thing as what Late Night Alibi does, kind of play on their strengths a little bit and showcase them because that's what the general audience tends to connect with is the vocalist.
And I think that's something we have in common is, Late Night Alibi, Rand Hollabaugh, and Don McClincy, just we bring 3-part harmonies. For Long Play, you got four vocalists in that band.
5 vocalists, actually.
5
vocalists. It's a 6-piece band.
Oh, that's right.
6-piece band.
5 vocalists.
You're on the kit.
I'm on the kit that does not have a vocal out to the audience or the main speakers. My vocals, which I do have a mic, and I am only in the ears of the other band members, counting off and cueing endings, but I am not singing harmonies on that. Even though I can sing, according to my wife.
Absolutely sing.
But choose not to. But
you got enough going on with all that.
I do, man.
Instrumentation.
I'm too busy back there, man.
You know, and then are you throwing barbs at your bandmates throughout the gig?
Yeah.
I mean, and no one else can hear it. I mean, how?
Yeah.
Like that's got to be the best thing going.
It is a goal of mine to like see how much I can like make them laugh either in the middle of a song or right before a solo or wherever it is, to try to kind of mess them up a little bit, just get a little giggle out of them or turn their head around and give me a look like shut the F up kind of thing.
I can't tell you how many people are like, what is he saying into that microphone?
Yeah.
Like only the band can hear.
Yeah. You will never know. But
That's neat.
they get a kick out of it, so they say.
Oh, that's all good, man.
They haven't shut my mic off yet, so apparently I'm not irritating them too much.
They can't. They can't. You won't allow that to happen.
They'll never know when to end a song.
I know. I know. It's very practical.
It is. It's the first time that I've been in a band that has actually done this type of thing, because we all have in-ear monitors, and in the Hobgoblins it was just 4-piece, and that was a band that was just kind of thrown together on a whim, and hired for a private party that I don't even remember who was approached to it, whether it was Pat or Mike, and he called me and he called the other guys, and we played that gig 15 years ago. Well, longer than that now, and then after that, we're like, that was actually a lot of fun and really easy. We didn't rehearse for it, so it became this band that just kind of formed naturally, that never rehearsed, and we just showed up and played gigs. And if we wanted to play a new song at the next gig, we'd just text each other or email each other and say, have this ready for the next gig, and we just show up and play it. Just like learn it just like the record, and be ready to do it. And we do it. Never had any train wrecks. It always seemed to just flow together. And
that's nice when that happens.
It is.
Yeah.
It was just such a natural thing, and there never egos in the band. So it was like no drama. It was just like we were all just friends that we've been together. We've known each other for 25, 30 years, and just got along. And it was just such an easy band. So, and that carries over into long play. I played with Steve Paxton on keys in previous bands, as well as the other members have, and Mike Clark has played with Devin in another band as well. So they had that relationship. So no one comes into this band with any egos, and you hear so much of that drama in so much of the bands where
it happens.
Egos come in and play, and I'm running the band and this and that, or I should be highlighted more and this and that, but there's just not any of that, which is nice, man.
That's refreshing to hear too.
It is.
Yeah.
It
and
is.
you guys have a lot of shows too this year that are already booked. Obviously.
Yeah, we have, I think, about 23, 25 gigs, somewhere around there, booked right now, which is great. We're already booked for New Year's for next year, which is awesome.
Where are you playing?
Well, I should say the contract is not in ink yet. It's expected to be in this week.
Okay.
But anyway, so I can't announce that. But yeah, we have some great shows coming up, and summer gigs will, those always get booked kind of in the spring, and so we'll have definitely more added to the calendar.
Oh, sure.
Are you doing another Queen tribute?
We are doing another Queen tribute. I cannot announce that officially where it will be, when it will be yet, because the venue does not.
Trying to help you out there.
I know.
Julie's pushing the envelope.
But if you'd like to find out where that will be and when it will be, just follow us on Facebook, longplayband.com and longplay. I always get confused because it's longplayband.com, I think, and Longplay Ohio on Facebook. Is where you can find us.
We'll put those links in the description of the podcast episode too, so folks can find it. Cool. Good deal.
But I gotta say, you wouldn't know Pat Delamere if it wasn't for me.
Well, true. True.
So that's where I kind of started my.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't start my career in Columbus with Pat, but there was this band called Silent Rumor. Did you ever hear of them?
I have not. What year are we talking here?
80s.
87,
8?
88.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I knew him first.
Oh.
So there. So I sang backup for that band.
That's cool.
That's where I started my backup career, was with Silent Rumor and my 2 a.m. sessions at the recording workshop. And yeah.
That's cool. Well, before that though, you're from a small town in Ohio, right?
Urbana, Ohio.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What kind of music scene did Urbana have for you growing up there?
The marching band.
Marching band. We had the best damn band in the land at Urbana, Ohio.
Urbana.
Yes.
In Champaign County.
Yes.
That's where the tornadoes.
That's
kind of blew
actually
through,
what I
right?
was thinking. Why who's saying? I was like, what music? Oh, the marching band.
Marching band.
They had a couple bars in town. Well, more than a couple bars, but one bar that would bring in local talent. And really, the scene was my sister's band.
Really?
So
like
that's-
the entire scene?
Well, I mean,
They owned the scene.
that's the
in
scene I
all
got
of
to
Champaign
see.
County.
Well, like my mom had to go with me so I could get into the bowling alley in the bar to see my sister. But that was my inspiration for my whole music career was, us singing with our candlesticks to Pat Benatar records, in our living room. But she joined a band when she was 17 called Red Hush. And they were the band. They were the band for Springfield, Ohio and Urbana, Ohio. And were on Homegrown WTUE album and had some originals, but played, all the songs that were popular in that time period, 80, 81. And I watched my sister go from the candlestick in the living room to fronting a band, and I was like, I can do this too. I can do this. My sister's doing it, and she was my inspiration to even think I could do it. So when I got to college, when I got to Ohio State, I started looking for bands. So it started like in 86, 87 for me, and started joining bands. And at that time,
There's a lot going on.
You remember how it was? You'd go to the music stores and you'd peel off the phone number. Yeah, you the little tabs.
There's like
everything.
27
Yeah.
of them on there. And
You're like, looking for a vocalist. Like, I'm going to snag that tab.
Yeah.
You remember?
on a telephone pole outside
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
At,
Just walk
Bernie's
around
Bagels
campus and you
or
see all the
whatever.
flyers.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the beginning of it. Just working with different people, and had my first band in '86, and did the East Dallas,
Oh, man.
Battle of the Bands.
Yep.
You'd have to get the most people in the door and voting for you, and met a lot of people. So that's how it got kicked off. Really.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
There's a lot going on in the 80s, the Ohio State campus scene and
Yeah.
music, and so you were immersed in all of that.
Yeah, with my fake ID. Jumping in. Like, I remember, Papa Joe's and
Me,
the
Mr.
$4
Mustard's.
Me, Mr. Mustard's. Loved that place. And I worked for Al DeSantis, who owned all the properties around that. And it was such a fun time. It was such a, $4 buckets of beer and just walking bar to bar. And, I remember bands like The Point. Do you remember that band?
I do.
And I would be drunk and jump up. Yep,
Merv Rolland.
Would-
Merv Rolland is episode number 3, by the way. You gotta listen to him.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
You get every sense of Merv in that conversation. I think it lasted 20 minutes.
That's
That was it,
awesome.
huh?
And it was a remote dial, and he dialed in right into that board.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember. I mean,
way.
if he remembers this, dark-haired girl jumping up in the middle of a song and saying, I want to sing. That was me.
At the point, at the point.
Yeah,
on the
just
point
one of
point?
those bars on South Campus. It was so much fun. And what was Bernie's Bagels? What was the place down under? Like
Was it
The other-
was it the underground?
There was the underground.
not the on
me
South
and Mr.
Campus, on North Campus.
Northburg. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
like where you would
Lots
go
of
play.
great
Yeah, it was
Venues.
so much. So it was a fun time and a creative time. And so I joined a band, well, several bands, and then several bands down the road. Formed a band called Juliet with another female singer, Julie Anderson. And our drummer moved to Texas. And Mike McGee, who I'd been in a previous band, my first band, Stranded, he introduced Ben. So this is like 89.
Yeah, Mike called me and said, "Hey, I know a band that's looking for a drummer. They're having auditions," and gave me the contact information. I set it up and went in an audition. And as I was walking into the basement and carrying my drums down there, and first person I saw was the woman to my right, Julie.
That's so awesome.
And our eyes connected and locked in, and I got the gig and got the girl, and here we are almost 35 years later.
What was the name of that band?
Juliet.
Juliet.
Yeah, we did some originals. We it was mostly cover. It was mostly, the hair band kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. Yeah.
It was short-lived because,
Well, the guitar player, I used to date him.
well,
so-
yeah, she was kind of breaking up with him at the time that I entered in, and we started dating quickly after I joined, so that didn't really...
the drummer got the girl and the guitar player exited stage
Yes.
left.
Yeah, he was, he didn't take too kindly to it.
No.
So,
Man.
That's okay.
but anyway,
Sometimes drama does occur within bands.
I know.
It does.
See, Ben, you
You know.
caused the drama.
All right, so prior to that though, so Julie was at Ohio State, singing and having fun and studying, hopefully in between. Ben, what
She did.
what brought you up to that point?
she did get her degree from
I
Ohio
did. I
State. So, yeah,
graduated.
she did
That's
study.
good to hear too.
She did study. So yeah, after I graduated, I grew up in Eastern Ohio, Barnesville, Ohio, little small town. And right out of high school, I went to music school at Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California, from
Wow.
86 to 87. It was just a one-year program that they, shortly after I finished my tenure there, they turned it into a two-year program because every professor there, every teacher was like, yeah, we're really cramming 2 years worth of education into 1 year. It really should be a 2 year. And so it's like, it was almost overwhelming how much you had to how much class time you had and how much practice you had and all that. But anyway, I digress. It was a 1 year program. So yeah, so after I graduated there in 87, it was funny because when I first moved to Hollywood, I was like, small town kid, 5,000 town population kid growing up. That's born and raised. But I did see the world. I traveled, I traveled. My dad was a traveling musician. I went to gigs with him all over the country. But so it's not like I never left Barnesville, but, moving out on my own, 17 years old, or just turned 18, I think, moving out to Hollywood, California, I thought, man, this is a big time.
That's a big damn deal, dude.
I'm the big deal,
Yep. Yep.
Quickly learned that I was a small fish in a big freaking pond, So it was very humbling, but wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a great experience and exposed to, so much more diverse music. Opened my world to jazz and fusion and African music and all these other just different styles and cultures and everything else that I wasn't exposed to in Barnesville, Ohio.
No, sir.
So it's really where I expanded my chops and my playing and my styles and incorporating different styles because I took Latin classes, I took jazz classes, I took fusion classes of drumming styles and all this. So even though I was just a rock drummer, all I listened to growing up was just rock and pop radio. That was it. Never exposed really much to jazz other than my grandpa's cassettes when I was driving in the car with him of, Tony Dorsey or whatever the old jazz cassette he might have in his car at the time. So, but never paid attention to it. But anyway, so yeah, after that, moved back to Ohio, moved to Columbus, started my first band, Street Legal.
Nice.
Yeah. It was pretty much an 80s hair band kind of stuff. Guns N' Roses, Rat, and all that
Everything
kind of
was,
stuff.
Hitting the airwaves at
Yeah.
the time, right?
Yeah. And that lasted for, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then I think it was Juliet, I think, shortly after that. I think so.
Yeah.
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 Then a
Late
couple other
80s.
bands after that. Second Nature is when I had the first cover band after Juliet because Juliet didn't last very long. But Second Nature was a cover band, more of like the 80s, 90s, early 90s kind of stuff. That lasted until I was in that band until 92. That was like a band it was very popular back in the day.
Very.
We played Clancy's, Victories, a lot down in the German Village and
Do you know Val Chardelli?
I do.
Val Chardelli, yeah.
So
If
that
you
was
mention
his
my name to him, he'll just laugh out loud.
Okay.
We love Val.
Yeah.
I
Great
love him.
vocalist.
He's awesome.
He is one of my favorites. He really is. I'd like to see him doing more. To be
Yeah,
honest with you.
we'll have to.
I tried to talk him into it one time when I was trying to get a band off the ground, and he
Really?
was too busy.
He's amazing.
Oh man, yeah, I've known Val since back in the late
Yeah,
'80s.
I love him.
Yeah,
Yeah. We can talk about that in
Yeah.
a while, but for what a golden opportunity though, like to be able to, go out to California at that age and have the support. I'm sure you had great support from the family to do that.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Get all of that worldly exposure.
Yeah.
And tool up.
Yeah.
And do what you loved, right, at that time in your life.
that is all.
Carry it forward.
That is all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
All through high school, I was starting to, really become work on my craft, and I always took private lessons on drums all through high school. Played in the orchestra band, the jazz band, the marching band, any band there was that I could play in high school and middle school, whatever. But also took private lessons all through that time as well. And so, yeah, it was just something. And both my parents, as we talked about before, they both were classical pianists. I have to concentrate really hard when I say that.
We
and
all
enunciate
do.
that. They both graduated from College Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati in the 50s. And so the house I grew up in was a music studio on the main level. Each had just 4 or 5 different rooms of teaching studios, piano, drums, guitar, vocals, wind instruments, whatever it was. Then we lived on the second floor. So, it was always music in the house. But on the flip side of that, both my parents being classically trained, that's all they listened to. So I wasn't exposed to rock music other than FM radio at the time, or whatever my older brother and sister or myself happened to go and buy an album at the store of whatever popular band it was, Kiss.
Van Halen.
Well, I was really into Van Halen was my jam, and
Gotcha.
all through high school. But yeah, my brother exposed me to Van Halen, and that was what I lived on my junior, senior year. But anyway, yeah, so it wasn't like my parents didn't expose me to a lot of, pop music or rock music or really any other genres of music other than hearing classical music all the time in my house.
Well, you had mentioned
But I started on piano. So I'll back up a little bit and say, they started me on private lessons on piano when I was age 3. I don't remember that, of course, but that's what they tell me. And I studied all through high school up until through my senior year, did piano contests and was quite good at it. But at the age of 10, my older brother, who was 4 years older, my dad, he got into drums. My dad bought him a drum set when he was 14. I was 10. Then I ended up playing the drum set more than my brother did. Then 2 years later, he wanted to sell that kit and say to buy a car when he was 16. Then I begged my dad to say, please don't let him sell that drum set because I want to play the drum set. So he paid my brother, here's a couple $100 for the drum set. Is now your brother's. Go buy your car. So that's how I got into drums.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned your father though traveled around. Was he playing piano, and was he a solo performer?
He did a lot of solo acts around the area, but he did he had a couple bands. He did local bands as well. The first traveling band that I remember him doing was an Elvis impersonator. This guy was out of New Philadelphia, who was at the time, this was the mid-'80s, early '80s, the mid-'80s. He was rated one of the best Elvis impersonators in the country. Yeah. I don't know by what, but that's what I just remember. I went to many of those shows, a lot of those shows, and because I just traveled with my dad where the shows were around the area. And then that was around my 7th, 8th grade year. And then when I was a freshman, he was still with that Elvis impersonator, and he called me one time. He was in, I think, Tulsa, Oklahoma, playing a show, and he called me and said, hey, our drummer just gave 2 weeks notice, and we have a show in 2 weeks that he can't play. You've seen this show enough. Do you think you can do it? I'm like, after I'm crapping my pants a little bit, like 14 years old, going out on the road, like, I said, yeah, I can do this. He's like, I will send you, I'm going to record our next show on cassette.
Wow.
And I'm going to mail them to you. You learn them. So every day after school, I come home, put the headphones on, listen to the cassette, play along with the cassette, play the show, learned it, went out 2 weeks later. I toured with this guy that was coming up into the summer, I think of 82 or 83. And, I played throughout the summer until they found another drummer that could be full time. So I was kind of a fill-in drummer, but
you got that experience.
I got that experience at 14 years old, and
let me tell you, the girls in the mall loved
him. We played some mall shows. We played some.
Did you know him?
We played some cars. No,
but the stories run through the family. He still got posters where girls came to the mall and were like, God. Ben, we love you. We love you, Ben.
I still have a box full of fan mail. Funny enough, not that I ever look at it.
Don't ever lose that stuff.
No.
I haven't looked at it in a week or so, but I have a box full of fan mail from a mall show up in Michigan that we did, Ann Arbor, I think it was. We did car shows. We played down in North Carolina. First gig was awful because I was just nervous as crap, but that was fun. I mean, it just really exposed me really quickly, and that was my.
Awesome.
Just jump right into you're on the road, and I had to I would have to leave school on Friday. I'd miss school on a Friday. We'd go out and play gigs for the weekend because we'd be playing Friday night down in North Carolina or Michigan or whatever the regional area was, and play Friday, Saturday, and then a show on Sunday. Get home late on Sunday, and then go back to school on Monday.
Wow. And you had all that family support to make that happen.
Yeah.
Right? That's cool.
Yeah.
His dad is still putting together shows that Ben has been a part of, whether it be Gershwin and they do something and
so my dad
travel
went
that around, or Hayden's Young Messiah, or like you've been in several things with your dad. It's so cool. It's just really cool.
My dad's he's just turned 89, right?
Yeah. Yes.
In December. And he still teaches. He still performs. He is. I just talked to him a few days ago. He's like, well, I've got my next concert all lined up. I'm going to do a solo recital on my 90th birthday.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So it's, it runs in the family. It's in my blood. I'm grateful for both my parents, being in music and exposing me to it. And my older brother he wanted to start drums. And if he didn't start drums, I don't know if I would ever start drums. So I owe a lot to my brother too.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And, and it was the drums too that kind of brought you to the Juliet,
Exactly, yeah.
Where
So
you got
maybe
the
I
girl.
need to go deeper. Maybe I owe my brother the gratitude of meeting my wife for me playing the drums.
ultimately.
Yeah,
Because
ultimately.
we needed that drummer. And
Yeah.
Mike McGee. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, so many players. It's so funny how just look at the lineage of
Yep. It
chain of
is.
events.
It is really neat.
What leads you to one thing in your life?
Absolutely.
Anyway,
So, Julie, I guess we're going to pop over back to the left here. There were some other bands that you were involved with, right? Like, Juliet happened,
Yeah.
and you met your man. You
I
hung on to this
did.
one,
I did.
and that's a long haul with this one. And you know what? It's very refreshing to see that too. I mean, a guy like me who doesn't get past a certain point. Thank God I met the love of my life, Beth.
Yay, Beth.
Later in life. But it's honestly it's refreshing to see this happen with you guys. It's awesome. It's a romantic story.
It is. It's a love story. I mean, that's how we met, was on this, the ground of music. Like, just that's our foundation. We
Right.
both were pursuing something. We were both honing our craft and, this creative adventure.
Yeah.
So we've always been very supportive of each other, pursuing those things. Now we decided to have a family. We have 2 daughters. And so that kind of, there was times where I had to pull away because I was missing too much. And you have to kind of prioritize that. But, there's always been that support for me to dip in, dip out, and do different things. So we've had a couple bands that we've worked together. So we ended up going to Minneapolis for a while in the early 90s. So after the Silent Rumor, Juliet, and singing backup for Rosie, we headed off to Minneapolis, and I got relocated with my job there, and we just kind of dug that scene out there. And Ben was in a couple different bands, and I would sing backup, and we were there for 7 years, and then we came back pregnant with our first daughter, and kind of made our way back to Ohio into family, and then tried to resume this network once we got back to Columbus of getting back into music. So, for me, my contacts really before we left for Minneapolis through one particular person, Ed Means, for me was the most important. So Ed was the rhythm guitarist for Rosie, and he was previous a really popular band with Kay Harris, Sweet Cheeks, and Mike Nugent. And he and I always had this relationship. We were very good friends, hung out a lot. Julie Anderson used to date him, so she was in Juliet. And so we just always kept in touch. And I think we moved back, and Ed saw you at the train shop. And he was like, "You guys are back." And so Ed reached out to me, and we started a band called Little Kids around, I think 2003 maybe. And so that was where Matt Mees and Mark Neff, Mooch Neff, and Ed Means and I put together this band. And so we did that for about 5 years, and that was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of great gigs and just get my chops back.
Yeah, where were you
basically.
guys playing venue wise?
We played at On the Rocks a lot, and we played at Benny's. We played at some biker bar. I can't remember, where's that biker bar. I don't remember.
That's
like
okay.
various
Yeah.
venues.
Played somewhere at the Continent. I know that.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Which place it was?
Oh, I think Shecky's maybe, but I think that was later. After that was later. But yeah, so Ed was kind of my lifeline back into relationship with musicians and trying to get these opportunities. I had to write all this stuff down, and then really, like, it's been a story for me of dipping in, doing some things, and then having to pull back because of family. So just like a lot of different, well, we had Second Nature in 2008. So we got back together. So I left Little Kids, and then we did Second Nature with Val Ciardelli and Pat Delamere and James Pat. Yeah. So we had some great people in that. That was a lot of fun. And then really it was just me doing some studio work and then singing backup for Rosie. And really my next like leap into the career, other than doing studio work, was really probably 2018 when I started working with Doug Savage, and Kyle Kelly and Paul Kress, in a band called the Deplorables. And it was creatively, like, it was all original music, and we recorded and got with Joe Veers, and that's so funny because then that work led me back into working with the Gods, because Doug got picked up to do kind of lead the Gods and fill that role of Eric Moore. And Mark kind of always includes me every time he needs a backup singer. I'm kind of a go-to, which like I value so much and really am grateful for that. So now I get to work with Keith Pickens and Steve Mitchell now, and that's led to a lot of opportunities where, you know, I'm getting pulled into the studio, and people like John Pettibone is like pulling me in to do some things, which, thanks John, that was an incredible experience. And doing some studio work. That's my, I love performance, but I love the studio. I love it. So if anybody's out there, you need a backup singer or somebody to do some vocals, I love it.
Yep.
So,
Well, we hooked you up tonight
yeah.
for some studio. No, it's going to be live. That's actually going to be a live show.
Yeah.
With,
Beth. Yeah. Thank you, Beth. So maybe, well, I'll like certify that that's going to happen. But yes, Beth was lining me up for some opportunities. Yes.
So that's a funny story. I don't know if you want to tell that. Maybe we'll save it for when Kelly comes here. We'll get Kelly to come and we'll tell that one. But what a gift that you have within yourself. But also you're sharing your gift. You've got a lot of opportunities, but you're kind of making those happen because of what you're able to do.
And not get in my own way, because I'm 55. I don't want to put myself in a box. And, this really is, as a vocalist, you work on your craft, you do your exercises. I go to Jamie Vendera, like, he's a great vocal coach, to get some lessons and get back on track. But, for me as a woman too, or just a person, like, you do find this alter ego where you get to kind of be outside of yourself and take on a whole new kind of persona, or just have this creative expression, have this voice. It's so empowering. It just really is empowering. And I think I'm probably speaking for all musicians, you weave this into your identity and you just can't leave it behind. Like, something yearns out to you. So every time I have left it behind, because I've had to prioritize family, kids, and that's important. just it's still there. It's still there. It's just an unfulfilled expression of yourself. So to be able to get back to it and have somebody like Rand Hollabaugh call me up and say, hey, you want to do this again? It was like, yeah, I want to step back into this and front a band. And it gets really comfortable in the background.
It seems like it might be almost a new, refreshing opportunity for you.
Yes.
Like a new horizon.
And it's taken me, I kind of still always get those comments of like, every show you're much better because, you're kind of getting out of your own way in your head. You're honing that craft. You're getting that confidence. And yeah, you just want to see how far can I take this? What else can I do performance-wise, vocal range-wise? New Beth and I were talking about this, like songs that are not in your wheelhouse, but you're going to take them on and you're going to kind of be the master of them. So yeah. And now I'd love to get into going back to writing. I was doing some of that, and I loved those recording workshop 2 a.m. sessions where you got with the students and they were free. So you go down at 2 a.m. and it was just, that creative expression is just so fun. So I think that's what we all kind of live for, is to see what we can do.
Yeah, those that are involved in music projects, and even local level, right? It's just an expression of who you are, and you just want to see how far you can go.
Yeah.
And just stretch it. Ben, what are like the things that you kind of, I don't know, reflect on? Obviously, you had a lot of support. You came from a musical family, but when you're behind that kit yelling at your bandmates about what's going on stage, but what's driving you?
I just want to be the best that I can possibly be. I'm not saying I want to be the best drummer in town. If someone views me that way, that's on them. That's great. And I appreciate that. But I'm never, there's so many other drummers that are so much better than I am. But I just want to be the best that I can be, and be the best that I can be for the band that I'm playing with, or the performer that I'm playing with. So when we have a show coming up, and we have a handful of new songs, say like the Queen show we did last year, we have coming up this year. Like, I practiced my ass off on that. Like, I want to make sure that I'm not going to be the guy up there messing up. I just want to be the best that I can be, and
serve that moment, serve that song at the moment.
Yeah,
serve your bandmates.
Yeah, and it's just something that I strive to be. Obviously, working on technique is always something that I do, because that's a part of what we do. Every instrument you play, every vocalist, it's something everybody should be working on. Every performer should be working on. So I would just say that, yeah, that's what my goal is just to be the best that I can be, and try to be entertaining as well. I know I'm not quite the showman as some other players around town are, but that's just not my style. Not there's anything, I'm not dogging on that.
You're being you.
I'm being me. And that's what that's just not what I want to do. And
you're fun to watch.
I try to be.
And I think you're really sexy.
Well, I know what she likes, so that's what I play to.
Nice.
And I'm usually there.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a badass.
So, thank you.
Well, you have to be badass to be out there, right? Like you kind of have to be badass.
Absolutely, you have to have
There's
an
no
attitude. You
question
have to
about it.
have an attitude about it. You have to be. You can't go on stage like, be a nervous wreck and just be self-doubting, and you're not gonna do well by doing that. Of course, yeah.
And
so you
this
have to have the
scene-
attitude. Yeah.
This scene is just chock full of talent.
It is.
Yeah.
It
And
is. It's
Columbus.
absolutely chock full of talent.
And we're always like, oh, he's here to see us. This musician has come out to see us. We gotta be on our A game because we have an impressive musical community here. We really do.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to grow. And there's, it's refreshing too to see a younger than at least my generation, kind of bringing it on too. There's a couple
so
bands that we
inspired.
could say, but
Yeah.
it's inspiring.
Yeah.
It is.
Let's just call her out, Cassie May.
Oh God.
From Stage 5 Klinger.
You want to talk about badass?
I just want to tell, I don't want,
It's just-
she is just amazing. And, that's, if looking back, it's like, don't stop for anything. Just do your thing. And she's young and just seems to have this clarity of confidence. And it's, you can't help but root for that. She's amazing.
I admire that about her, but I admire, that trait with really anyone that's doing it. And I think we might have talked about it earlier in that she doesn't have any boundaries. She's free of, it seems to me, of everything. And she's just living in that state of satori. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's just living that moment, channeling whatever's happening in that moment. And that's special.
It is. It is.
But I see that in you too. And I see it in Beth when she's, and there's others. I mean, there's so many I could mention, but when you see that in a younger generation, like Cassie, for example, it's very inspirational.
And the thing that I have to call out is, and Beth will back me up here, we have this amazing community of women. The Central Ohio, what are we called? Women of Rock. But just embracing the women in this industry, sharing some knowledge. It got it like the highlight Nikki from Radio City, and for me especially Kelly Rush.
Yep.
She came in and was like, "What can I do for you?" And I'm getting back into it. It's been years since I fronted a band. She is the kind of the go-to and the circle maker for all of this, and then and Nikki as well. Angela from Pretty Filth, like it just goes on. Beth from Megabeth and Liquor Talking, just very warm, welcoming. Like, how can we lift each other up? How can we root each other on? It's been incredible. Tiffany Baumgartner.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's a great group. And it's awesome to see you all supporting each other.
Yeah.
In various ways.
And Bethany Hodges, she just was on your
Yes.
episode 42.
There's many.
Yes.
There's so many. I hate to
Like,
try to rattle them
I know,
all off.
sorry.
No.
I don't want to leave anybody out, but
Yeah.
it's just been amazing how we've kind of built this group.
Yeah, and on Facebook, that's a closed group. Like, guys can't get in there.
No.
That's kind of cool.
No dudes allowed, man.
No, it's really about rooting each other on and making sure that we're all, well equipped to accomplish whatever we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And, these new venues, and Kelly does so much, like this person is booking, and she's awesome. So Kelly Rush from Phoenix Rising.
Inspirational in herself too.
Yes.
She's really done a lot.
Yes.
Beyond herself, but for herself, she's really come a long way
Oh
too.
gosh, yes, a great band.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, great players in that. That's a fun show too.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to kind of convey, Julie, Neal?
I'm just inspired by the scene. Ben and I are having a really great time. Like, it's a different phase of our life, but we're just enjoying the scene. If we haven't been out to see your band, we're going to try to make it out. Like, we have so many people to pay back and come out and support that have shown us support. So
Absolutely.
just really a thank you
Yeah.
to everyone out there that is in the musical community or supports local music. And, this podcast, we've gotten to know some of our fellow musicians
cool.
in a really profound way. So thank you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's fun. I don't know everybody, but I know a lot. I'm acquainted with a lot.
You seem to know a lot.
And I'm going to continue to, keep doing it.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for asking me.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I totally second that. I feel like there's just this whole support of, local musicians for each other, and it's inspiring to see, because it's funny when you were telling a story about I don't remember exactly what it was now, but it gave me a flashback to a band I was playing in the early or late '80s out at East Dallas. It was like a battle of the bands, and all the bands were like setting up and sound checking, and we did our sound check, and we sounded pretty damn good. Then the next band got up, and they were like, well, they were okay, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Then also, then you take your drum. I took my drums off to the side, then waited for us to like be called on to like do the whole performance. The doors are open now. Okay, get up there and set up. I go out there, and my drum head's broken. Like, it was fine when I left it. So what happened between sound check
that's
and,
crazy.
like, did
man.
somebody sabotage that? Like, I don't know. It just gave me a flashback when you were talking about something there. But anyway.
And now they would be like going
Yeah.
to their car to like help
I
you
know.
replace your
Exactly.
head.
Yeah, I've had musicians actually say that. Yeah.
Yeah. You need something?
There's a
I got
lot.
it.
There's a
You need
lot
some
that's
duct tape?
changed. It's gone
Yeah.
from competitive to more of a supportive.
Supportive. Exactly. That's where I was going. Yeah. Supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is a different scene.
So we're gonna keep an eye out for long play. We'll have some links
Yes.
regarding long play where Ben Neal plays drums, and we have Julie Neal, of course, who's going to be very active with late night alibi.
Yeah.
And the Gods.
Yes.
Going to be doing a lot this year.
Yes.
And anything else that comes along your ways, we'll hopefully have another podcast episode, and
That'd
at
be
least
awesome.
maybe a bourbon trail trip or two.
Yeah.
There you go.
Something.
I think we should
Now we're
plan
talking.
that. Yes.
We can do a podcast on the Bourbon Trail.
That would be cool.
That'd
Yeah.
be very cool.
All right, guys. Well, that is episode number 43 with Julie and Ben Neal. We thank you guys so much for your time
Thank you.
and sharing your inspirations and your stories. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
us.
Well, thanks for listening, and take care. Bye-bye.